Good morning. Welcome to Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living Wednesday Inspirational Service. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole, and it's so good to have all of you here in the room, and it's so good to have all of you online with us as well. So let's begin with prayer. Let's turn within for prayer for a moment here. As we just know together that one life, that one power, that one presence, that one infinite knowingness, that intelligence, wisdom that indwells all, that is all, that one whole perfect complete life that is expressing itself at every point of existence. And therefore, we know that it is expressing itself right at the point of existence that is us. And so we are animated, each one of us, in a very unique way by that infinite power and presence. The fullness of the divine is right where we are, right as we are. In this awareness, I speak my word and bless our time here this morning, knowing it is so perfect. It is perfectly orchestrated for each and every person and everyone collectively to get, to receive, and to give exactly what is theirs to give and receive. It is a perfect divine orchestration happening here today. Our speaker, Reverend Katherine McKinney, is the perfect vehicle and vessel through which a beautiful message is delivered. And as the receivers of that message, we are absolutely aligned and ready for that part of the message or the whole message that is uniquely, especially for us. And so I just bless this time together. I know that our lead musician, Elise Carver, is also inspired and animated by that one whole perfect complete life. And so it is just a beautiful service. I bless it. I give thanks for it. I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Let's do a few announcements. All right. First, let's make sure everyone silences their cell phones so we won't have any distractions. And let's see, Fall Concert and Dance this Friday in Richelieu Hall, Soundscape Orchestra. I have not made it to one of those, but I hear they're really fun and people dance and have a really good time. So I invite you to show up, and who knows, maybe it'll be my first one. I don't know. 6 p.m. this Friday. Ecstatic Dance, this will be a second one for this month, happening not tonight, but next Wednesday at 7 p.m., and that'll be with DJ Trotsky, which I have danced with him at another location. Very good DJ, so come join us for that. There's a workshop called Divine Play, Improv for the Soul, and if you've never done an improv workshop, you are in for a treat. It is a lot of fun, has a lot of spiritual nourishment in there, because in improv you cooperate with what was just said. And so it's this beautiful dance that we do together, not necessarily physical dance, but interactive kind of dialogue that we do in creating a little, however she sets that up. So Natalia Jansen, one of our new members, is presenting that on Saturday, September 27th at 10 a.m. And then for those of you who want something really fancy, we have the Gondola Getaway Sunset Cruise. This is a new divine dining event Saturday, October 4th. That'll be down in Long Beach, and the 12 highest and earliest bids will be chosen. I'm kind of thinking about that. That's my birthday weekend. I'm like, oh, that could be a cool thing to go on a gondola cruise. So flyers are out there for that. Our Labyrinth Walk will be on October 1st, Wednesday, after the Wednesday service here. Drumming Circle, September 28th, Sunday, September 28th at 12:30, right across from the teen room. And then our Remembrance Day. Many of you know that we've done this Remembrance Day, first Sunday in November, for a long time. And that is a time for us to honor those that we love who have passed on. And this year, we're going to start over because we realize we accumulated so many, we don't even know who some of the people are in the video that we have. So we're going to start fresh, and we're actually going to invite you to submit the name of the person, their relationship to you, and that way when we all watch it, it'll be very interesting because it'll be like, oh, that's Reverend Gregory's dad, and that's so-and-so's mom. So it'll be a very interesting thing for all of us. So submit. There's a information in the lobby about how to submit that information. Update your contact information. We want to know what your birthday is so that we can send you a birthday card. And also, we love to have emergency contact information. Just in case something goes on with you at the center, we like to be able to reach out to whoever is your emergency contact and let them know. Also, you can find flyers for everything else and everything at the activity table in the lobby, and a full list of activities are in the weekly e-newsletter and the Spirit Speaks magazine. A big thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much. Let's give them a hand, our wonderful volunteers here. Our speaker today is Reverend Katherine McKinney, the one and only. And right now, we'll have a song from the one and only Elise Carver, our lead musician.
Good morning, everyone. This song is called Child of the Universe, and it's by Faith Rivera.
I'm a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have aligned for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me. I'm a child of this universe. Through my breath, all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love all of life. Give a kiss to Father Time. I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am a channel for peace to flow. Oh, I honor every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree, every mountain top, I sing of the glory of God moving through me. Moving through me.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. Something that Reverend Gregory said in his prayer treatment resonated with me so much. He said something like, this talk uniquely expresses to each of us, and we're tapping into something, I think he was as he's speaking, because that is my intention. The title, Celebrate You, Celebrate Yourself, really comes from my experience less than 2 weeks ago. It was September the 6th, when I attended a celebration of life for our nephew, Matthew McKinney. It was, to say it was amazing feels almost inadequate, because it was so moving and it has profoundly affected me in every way. It wasn't a momentary thing, and that's partly why I'm sharing what I share. His death was not unexpected necessarily. It was surprising, if that makes sense. And when we got the call, it was entirely surprising. And in such a short time, we had to figure out exactly how to take 2 planes and a rental car to get to the place. It's just not an easy place to get to, how to get there. And so we needed to go a day early, and that's what we did. And we came home the day after. So on Friday, September the 5th, is when the celebration of life was. That this was at a Methodist church. I grew up in the Methodist church, so much about it is familiar to me. But see, what to me is wonderful is on the front of the program, it said a celebration of the life of Matthew Brock McKinney. So that was the intention, in spite of the fact that there's a casket in front with beautiful flowers. It still was an intention. This minister did not know Matthew. He's new to that church, but he interviewed the parents well, and he evidently has wonderful questions and enabled them to share things that I think are special. And so in the course of talking about Matthew's life, which he did, and he told much more than I will share, but I will say that I have known Matthew all of his life. He was 50 when he passed. His mother and I have known each other. We're married to brothers, but we have known each other longer than we've been married to brothers. She and I talked weekly for 50 years, regardless of what time zone I lived in. She stayed in the same one. And we were in Mississippi when Matthew was born. And we went to see him pretty soon after. He was still very much a baby. By the time we went to see him, he was just months old. He had already it was clear from the birth that multiple birth defects were there. There were just signals that I won't go into. But he had open heart surgery when he was 5 days old, and only because he was such a big baby, over 10 pounds, was that able to even happen 50 years ago. At 8 weeks, he had another surgery. And there were many surgeries in between. By the time he was about 7, we had lived in Colorado Springs for a while, and then we were living in Florida. And we never thought we would ever do that, but we didn't live far from them. So for the 10 years we were in Florida, we visited back and forth. So to say I was in the life of Matthew is an absolutely true statement. It was probably 6 or 7 for another 10 years. And so when we were first going to move from Florida, and this was from Colorado, Bob had to go early because we had a house to sell back there. We had no children, but we had a dog and a house to sell. And so he came early, and so he would go up and down and visit with them. And so Matthew was still young, very young, and he was very attached to Bob. And in the days before we were coming, in the last few weeks, Jane said Bob was his favorite person. You see, Matthew didn't really talk. He couldn't say much at all. Yup was one of the things he said. But the other thing was Bob, and we knew who that was. So as time went on, I became Bob, and India and Maureen were born. They too became Bob. And so the idea, over all these years that we have conversations weekly, Jane had to be careful not to say not just Bob's name, but mine or the girls. Because wherever he was, whatever he was doing, he would get up and go, Bob. He knew the names. That perception is part of what we did. And he was diagnosed as, they have technical jargon for being very retarded, disabled, and any other things. In addition to the birth defects, he had cerebral palsy. And so he was not able to speak because of that. He had the capability to walk, but that was one of his surgeries. After we were there, they literally had to cut the muscles in his leg. And he had a full body cast, and then they had to do the other leg so that he could walk. And he did walk. He walked with an unequal gait, but he walked. And so by the time he was 8, he had had both surgeries. My daughter India was 8.5. And I have a picture somewhere in the wooded backyard where we lived in Orlando of Matthew chasing India through the grounds. They learned to walk at the same time. And he's happy. And you see, this is the person that impressed himself upon all the people he knew. He was in care from the beginning. Both parents, both Jane and Sam, worked full time. And so he went to daycare. And so he had all these people in his life. Sam and Jane, or Sam really, and Matthew, went to the Publix grocery store every Thursday night. And they waited for him. They had gifts for him. He was cheered everywhere he went. And so this is the life that he had, bringing this joy to whoever was open to receive the joy. And see, that's what it really impresses me. So at the service, the minister is going through his life, saying more than I've said, because he doesn't even know some of the things I know. But what he said was that he had only met Matthew when he was in hospice, and he said, he looked at me. He looked at me, and his face relaxed as if he decided that I was okay. And he said, as I hear what is going on today and now, I understand there's a level of perception there. And that was my experience with the perception. He couldn't speak. He was considered profoundly retarded, all of these things. But that doesn't mean that there is nothing there. It doesn't mean that at all. And he lived a life fully with what he had. I had this experience when we were living where we were, and they came to visit us one time. And so Sam is busy with the dogs. They always had a Labrador retriever. They went in and out of different retrievers. And he was out with the dog who was jumping in the swimming pool. And Aunt Jane brought Matthew and Daniel, their toddler, in. She's fussing with all this. She's so busy. She's trying to get everything settled up. And I wanted to talk to her about this quilt I had made for the bed. I'd made it for them. And I wanted them to know about this quilt. And so going, I did this and I did that. And then I looked at her and I said, you can't really hear anything I'm saying. You're too busy with what you're doing, which was true. I wasn't complaining. Matthew, who's standing right there, he walked over to the bed and he patted the quilt. He understood. No one really gives him credit for understanding those things unless you experience them. And those caregivers that he had, they experienced him in a way that few people did. I mean, the people at Publix loved him. And Sam was a fisheries biologist in Florida, and he would take him to a number of things. Everybody loved Matthew. He was always happy. And so when it came time in the service for people to share, in this church, they just stand up where they're standing and say what they have to say. There were at least a dozen people that stood up and spoke about their experience with Matthew with specific examples about how he did, shaking hands with people, saying, I think this was the person putting the words out, I'm running for president, because he was going down a hall as if he were a politician. And over and over and over again. And the one that moved me the most was a woman who was stood up near where I was in the church, and she stood up with her little boy holding his hand, and she said, I grew up with Matthew. My mother, and she indicated the older woman seated next to her, was his caregiver when he was very little. I was very little, and I grew up with him. I care for him now, and she said, and I miss him. And she's just got tears streaming down her face. So this is what Matthew brought to people. It wasn't just that they gave him something, he gave in return. So celebration of life was an absolutely beautiful thing. And that's really partly what I am bringing to you today, not just Matthew's life, but to understand that each of us has this unique expression of life. And we make impressions on people, even though we may not know it. I'm not sure that Matthew was aware of the kind of impression he made, and yet it was there. And we all got to hear it. And we got to hear Jane's two brothers stand up and give this celebratory shout to the two of them for the kind of parents they were for Matthew. They were with him every step of the way, and they were always supportive. And what Jane said to me, she said, well, sometimes when I was down, Sam would be up. And when Sam would be down, I was up. We did this together. And she is wondering, did we do enough because he passed? But when she did that interview with the minister, what the minister said, she said, I know that this all, meaning his life, was meant to be. That is a profound thing. Our soul is that unique expression, that unique part of us. It's an essence, I think, as Plato called it. It's an ancient expression in Western terms, and I would assume in Eastern philosophy as well. The soul is that eternal part of us. Ernest Holmes calls it the seat of our memory. Everything that's ever happened to us is in our soul. And our soul is that part of us that is telling us and guiding us to be and to do. And so if there's a message in all of this, it's to listen to your own soul voice. That's that Christ consciousness within you. No matter what's going on in your life, if you're in the midst of just horrible things happening, God is simply loving you through all of this. God doesn't see horrible. He doesn't see what you've made a huge mistake. God is not there. He's that loving embrace always. Your soul has a lesson in mind so that you learn. We're here to learn and to grow. That's the whole point of being here. And grasping that at that soul level is one of the most important things we could do. Does that mean we stop making mistakes? Well, I don't think so, because I've made one yesterday that I'm having to fix. But it also means that I just recognize I made a mistake and I do what I can to fix it. That's what it means, as opposed to, I can't believe you did that. That's so ridiculous. How come you can't count? I mean, etc. I can do that, but I'm wasting my time because it doesn't solve the mistake I made. I'd sent an email off this morning and literally just got it back, and I responded to the man that we will fix this. It just costs more money, but we will fix this. And so that to me is the lesson that Ernest Holmes keeps saying. He talks about, even this morning I read that the life that we move on to and the life we're living now, between that is a very thin veil, very thin. And we are always who we are. We are, each of us is unique, every part of us. Those parts we criticize, the parts we wish didn't happen, or maybe parts that we don't like very much, but keep promoting. We do that sometimes. I know I do, until I finally hear myself and stop. We are all as perfect as Matthew is. In that soul part of us, we are there. And so learning how to live that way, that's our job. Learning how to move through that. And we can make it easy for ourselves by listening to that soul's voice. Or we might, as Deepak Chopra says, get kicked out the window. We find out that way. I've been kicked out the window. And it just means I wasn't listening. I got other voices, and I, every day, practice hearing those voices. I invite all of you to listen to your own soul. Give yourself time. The meditation, like we did this morning, is a great opportunity, but you can do that on your own. You can always do it on your own. You just get quiet and listen. And that is how the soul speaks. Because Ernest Holmes says, nature, it means God, nature, capital nature, will not let us stay in the same place very long. Change will come. And then he adds the little jokey part when he says, and you can welcome change with a skip in your step and a smile on your face, knowing that we don't always do that. Because that's what life is about. It's about change. And just as we get complacent, something happens. Something happens. Something goes away. Something does something else. I liked it the way it was. Well, those shoes, I've loved those shoes, and now they're broken. I mean, whatever it is, it's silly things. It's big things. So this is, to me, what I am calling you to do, is to celebrate yourself. Talk to yourself in a way that you celebrate yourself. Recognize those parts of you, because all of the parts of you are valuable just the way you are. Even if other people say things and that we want to let disturb us, even if you say things that you wish you hadn't said or things you hadn't done, all of it is part of you. And you have to let that go. What does Ernest Holmes says? He said, we love the idea of the resurrection, but sometimes we just really drag those grave clothes into the present experience. Yesterday is done. We've read that before. Today is a new day, but that means everything that was done, we don't have to drag to today, and yet we will do that. But you can know in your intellectual way that it's not the way that you have to do it. Am I right? Yes. So that is what you want to know for yourself. All of those things. You are beautiful just as you are. No matter what anyone else said, including you, you are. And God loves you exactly as you are and doesn't see anything but that perfect expression of itself that you are. The law is impersonal, and it brings to you what you think and what you say and what you do. But God loves you no matter what. Yes? So let us just simply know together that I am loved with an everlasting love. And I allow myself at any time to simply step into a more perfect light where I recognize the light and love of God shining right on me, as I know it always is, wherever I am. And I say with confidence that I am a successful, I am a prosperous, I am a happy, I am a joyful person. And no matter what I do, whatever I can always be kind. And so I choose to step out of myself and bring kindness, loving attention, and wonderful smiles to all of those in my atmosphere, whether I know them or not. I allow myself to do this and spread this good and be that to the degree that I am called to do. And I allow myself to do it. And I know that if I allow it, it happens in my life. So I simply agree in so much gratitude for the law, for the precious spirit within me, for that soul growth that is always happening. In gratitude, I say, and so it is. Thank you all. They've only flashed the light once, but I think I'm done. Thank you very, very much. Okay, does anyone have comment, question? Oh, wait, we have to do something else first. And thank you, Vicki. We are about to share our bounty with this center. In many ways, so many of you in this room, I recognize that you are volunteers as well. And that is a significant giving. Every time we do anything, it comes back to us pressed down and overflowing. But I also know that money is what makes that energy of the church and what pays salaries, as well as does all of these wonderful improvements that we are bringing to the center. So wherever your heart is, that is where you put that cash. And so we provide the different ways to pay. I love the QR code. If you've ever tried that, that is so much fun. You can just dial the number as well, and you can go online and donate. And it's an incredible experience to give. It is something that has blessed my life, and more than I can say. I give online simply because that works for me, and I hold my hand over my heart as I say our affirmation when they bring that. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all of those who give and all of those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my gift, and I release my gift with love, and so it is.
This song is called Love Cover Me by Gary Lynn Floyd and Danny Miller. As time has unfolded me, it has revealed to me life's nothing less than sublime. With every thought I make, every last breath I take, may I be gracious and kind. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Kindness was over me. Make me a symphony. Play every note you can find. Make me reverberate, gently deactivate, slowly flow out of my mind. Find me a melody, dance, and may my anthem be. Love cover me, light any darkness. Love cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love cover me. Love cover me. Love cover me. I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. Love cover me. May my heart awake in tenderness be proved. Love cover me. Love cover me. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Find me a melody, dance, and may my anthem be. Love cover me, light any darkness. Love cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love cover me. Love cover me. Love cover me. Love cover me. Love cover me.
Thank you. Thank you, Elise. Thank you. So now, does anyone have a solo question or any question? I keep thinking, I keep thinking about Matthew, and when Reverend Gregory was talking about Remembrance Sunday, I thought, I am definitely going to put a picture of Matthew. At the front of his program will be wonderful, and so I will do that. David. I started to say Brian. David. Yeah, I bet. When you have two names that are both first names, that Lee, Scott, those kinds of names. I've had students like that. Yes, David.
Thank you. That was such an authentic, heartwarming message. And it reminded me of my brother. My brother went through, he was a sports star practically when he was young, but he became homeless when he got older. But his funeral was packed, full of people. And so that reminded me of my brother a lot, in how he touched people.
Right.
I wanted to do a testimony about my cousin. I asked for prayer for her, and the book club, they prayed for her surgery, for intestinal surgery. She had a really bad surgery, the one before that. This surgery went so well, she had an unexpected surprise. She doesn't have to wear the bag anymore. She's been wearing for 20 years.
Oh my goodness. That's a fantastic surprise. What a celebration.
Yeah,
Thank you.
she's so happy right now. And she thanked me and the church for the prayers. And
Absolutely.
yeah, prayer works.
Oh, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah. So thank
And
you.
we're always happy to participate in that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you for your talk, Reverend Katherine. It was very moving and such a wonderful way that you were able to use that example as a teaching means for us. I particularly was touched by Matthew hearing what you were trying to say about your quilt and going over and touching it. Showed so much his ability to grasp what was going on at even a nonverbal level. And I was thinking how people who we think of as being disabled, oftentimes, because they are relieved of what occupies our minds most of the time in life, that they're more tuned into what really matters and can teach us. And I just appreciate your sharing that with us. Thank you very much.
Well, I do think that that when other people see, I mean, Jane and Sam have done this amazing job, and they did it everywhere they went. And I think they were very often met with, if not words, the attitude, oh, I'm so glad I don't have to do that. It is huge. And so it is, and when Jane said to the minister, she didn't say it to me when she and I were talking, but she said to the minister, I think it was meant to be. She's accepted that this is what they came to do, and not in a negative way. They served Matthew, and they even resisted help from other people from time to time. He was not a big man, which was useful because they had to lift him in and out of things, and didn't weigh very much, and so he was able to be managed. But as they got older, that got a little more difficult. So at some point, they had to make the decision to make the bathtub easier. They have a small house, it's not fancy. And so they were contemplating lots of things. And she probably talked about that. There was someone who gave them $5,000 to help do that. And she's talking to me, she said, I can't keep that. We can afford to do this. We could do that. And I talked with her for a long time. I said, do you realize that what you're doing is you are not allowing someone to serve you? This is their gift. And all you really want to say is thank you. And so, I mean, I spent time with her, but her instinct is, no, we're fine. We can do that. Because they did do that, and they would have done that. But why not say yes to the gift? It's a lesson that maybe all of us have to learn at some point, because we think we are doing it. We're doing it. I don't need for you to do this. But when somebody wants to help, learning to say yes to that is also one of life's lessons. I've officiated memorials, been to many more, and when people celebrate someone's life, even if you knew the person fairly well, you find out wonderful things about them. The last one I officiated, which was at the end of May, was for Linda Knapp, that some of you knew. And of course, Paul was saying wonderful things about her son. She was 15 when she had her son. And that was and moving to Hawaii and all of this, he had so many wonderful things to say about her. And other people did too. But when the service was over and I went to the back, people were going out, and there was this man in his polo shirt and his cargo shorts. Turns out he was the owner of the company where she had worked for, a very, very, very long time. And we were talking, he said, she's the kindest person I ever met. Do you know how easy it is for us to be kind? And I think that's why I mentioned it in my prayer. If we change anything in our lives, just simply to learn to be kind, we change ourselves as well as changing the atmosphere around us and changing everyone. So to me, the messages in all of this are many. You pick and choose, if you receive one, which one that is. Did someone else have a comment? Yes.
Thank you, Kathy.
I'm going to step over here so I can hear better.
Okay, thank you. It was a very profound service. And I want to say, yesterday I was reading that we should not focus on something that is wrong with our body, like a part. I have a little problem with one ankle, but rather to focus on what is working.
Yes.
And I started, giving thanks for everything else that works on my body. Thank you again.
Actually, that's a great Science of Mind lesson. We're in the roots of Science of Mind that we're talking about. One of the things last week was the note that Myrtle Fillmore, who is one of the founders of Unity, came to the teaching that they had, which is a new thought teaching, not a lot different from Science of Mind. And she was very sickly when she became part of that. And she met someone who she named that I'm not remembering, but he said to her, God is not sick and neither am I. Variations of that. And that's what she said to herself. God is not sick and neither am I. God is, I am whole. I mean, it's ways of affirming exactly what you're saying, Lydia. And it worked for her. She became healthy. All of the things that had afflicted her for years went away. And the same thing, Charles Fillmore had some other physical thing that was going on. And he ultimately healed from all of that by affirming the truth. There are many ways to affirm the truth. As you say, being grateful for everything that's working. See, there are many, many ways. And each of us chooses uniquely or how our own consciousness is expressing that. Thank you very much for the comment. Thank you. Anyone else? I feel very complete. I love sharing about this magnificent experience and that I get the opportunity to do that. I'm so grateful for your being here and hearing what needed to be said. So thank you. Thank you very much. I love this place and love you all. Thank you. Okie doke. Oh, it is?